Hey, good morning. Um, how's it going? How, uh, how is the mic level? I can't hear myself, so I don't really know. What do you think about this level? I can try to make it higher, but then I was getting like some clipping, and it sounded really bad. Um, boop, 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 boop. So we're gonna make a card stacking effect in CSS. This is kind of, I mean, it's not classic CSS, but this is fun CSS trick that makes scrolling a little bit more dynamic and interesting. Um, so the idea is there's these cards. This is the design. These are the cards. And as you scroll down the page, they're just going to go boop, boop, and stack on top of each other. And that's not normally how it works, but that's how we're going to do it today. So I got this blank page. This is what it looks like. And this is how we start every single page. I'm going to put this as a split so we can see both at the same time. And then we got to get this, the content for our cards in here. This is about the planets of our solar system. Give me 1 second and I will paste it in there. So here we go, some text for these planets. There's 9 of them, right? Let's see, Mercury, Venus, we got it all. And for each of these, we also have a little picture. So I'm going to drop those in. And there they are. Everything looking sufficiently bad at this point because that's how everything starts. So what do we got here? We got this top row. It has the name and the picture, and then it has this data, and then there's some text on it, and then we're alternating purple and green as we go through the planets. It's going to use these purple colors in like a bunch of places. Let's just like grab that purple. Looks like there's 3 different purples here, or yeah, 3 different purples. So unfortunately I think I have to grab this one by one. So let's just say HTML, purple 300. Didn't copy it. Is that copying it? Can't even right click on it. Ah, well, there it is. Copy that one. This could be purple 500. And let's get this one, which is really like a black that has, well, it's a part of the purple spectrum. So let's just say purple 700. And then we also need these greens. This is, using these variables is very important for not losing your mind and wishing you had used them, because we're going to reuse these colors and change them, and you really use them in one. And last one, it's because it links to hospital, several hospitals in fact, and they're always sort of ambulances coming down the street. All right, So I said 900. Let's just make this one 900 just to be consistent. And we got our colors. Now we need, let's do one planet first, and then we can just copy that to all the others. So we need to wrap this in a new element, which will be the card. Give it a class, card. And then Mercury. Which one is Mercury? Must be this one. Drop that in there. These looks like this is just like larger text. This is a bold, and then this is in the purple color. The background of this thing is a gradient, which has these 3 stops, but doesn't really say where the stops are. That's confusing. Can I change this? Copy it? If I copy it, it should just give me, there it is. So this is a linear gradient at this angle, and then there are different stops along the way that make the spread of colors. So this card is a purple card, and then we'll have another class for the green cards. This also needs to be in a row. These two are, well, not that one. These two must be, let's say, header row. Oh no, I'm on the wrong element. This Mercury is actually, let's say it's an H2, and then this header row gets a class header row. And you'll soon see that we can make this look beautiful as soon as we get into the CSS for this. So card. Let's say purple can do, so if I nest these rules inside of each other, I need to do, if it's a purple card, it needs to have the @ symbol so that it will, the styles of the selector is changed to the one on top. This is saying this is the parent selector. So this is equivalent of doing, so putting .card in .purple is the equivalent of doing .card .purple. And we're going to do background image, and oops, don't know how that happened. And there we get a linear gradient. Why doesn't that work? Let's see if we can just do background black. There it is. Background, it would help if I spelled ground correctly. There we go. So, and then the color on this is going to be mostly white, except for the P tag, which is going to have a color of light purple. Now, well, it's really only the last one that has it. Oh, you guys can't even see this. Gotta scroll up. Static picture. That's no good. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. Is it still static? says skipped frames due to encoding lag. There's a bunch. You know, I might not sure what to do about that. If anybody can hear me, tell me if it's actually working. Then we have header row. The header row, we're going to do display flex, and that puts them on the same row. Align items center. That centers the title with that. But then we need to do image. We only really want this to be about maybe 60 pixels. And then we can see we have a problem where they're right next to each other. We want them on opposite sides. So let's do justify content space between, and now they're on opposite sides. This whole thing needs some padding. So that'd be padding 16 pixels. Looks about right. Change this selector to be last child, and then only the last one is purple. How about a font? This really looks a lot better. Will look a lot better if we have a font. Ooh, looks like there's more padding on this than I thought. All right. First things first, padding, 16 pixels, 32 pixels. Looks better. Fonts. This one is space grotesque, and I should be able to just drop it in here. Although it didn't give, there it is. This is the import of the font. And there it is, it looks all right. That is much better looking. So what else do we have on these cards? Looks like there's a border radius on this that has like a nice curved edge to it. It's got a border, and it's got a shadow. It's got two shadows. Let's just copy the shadow and add it there. Box shadow did it as two different properties. It's sort of annoying. Figma must know that that's not really how CSS works, but and we want to use our variable here, purple 300. So this should give it like a nice sheen glow to it. Can we see it? Yeah, it's right there in the corner, you can see it. And that makes it a lot better. It's like definitely bigger. And then we have a border, 1 pixel solid, with our purple. Is that looking close? What is the border radius on this thing? Figma's not wanting to tell me. Let's see. Can just guess. Border radius 24 pixels. Looks all right. You know, the other thing about this page is the whole background's supposed to be black. So I'm gonna set on this one background 111 and color white, and then things are looking quite a bit better already. I think the whole page could probably use, well, no, let's not worry about that. And there we go. This card is looking pretty close to this card, although the box shadow is quite a bit larger here. You know, you copy something out of Figma, you would think it would be exactly what you want, but not the case at all. This is blur, so it's going 5 pixels down in the X direction. So it's in the Y direction. X, Y, blur, and spread. So this we probably only want to spread a little bit. And then one of these has a more blur and one of them has less blur. Looks pretty good. So then we need to do so really this box shadow goes on the purple card because later we're going to want to change this to green. So I drag these around. That's hot page for you. So now I can duplicate this rule. Now I have two of it, a copy of it. I can change this to green, and then I can do green 300 for the box shadow, and this is slightly annoying. When I copied this from Figma, it didn't actually do these this gradient with the variables, so I'm going to have to do it myself manually. It's starting with this light purple color, purple 300, then it will go to purple 500, and eventually it ends in this black, which we are calling purple 900. And how about that? Now we have it as variables, and I can copy this and paste it in here, and then all I need to do is change purple to green, and in 1 second you will see exactly how a green card looks. Once I make you a green card. Let's do Venus. This gets card, and it's a green card, and boom, there it is. The one thing that's missing here is the color of the text, which we're setting here, P last child, so I can drag this into the purple. Now the purple one has purple text, and then I can copy it, or you can actually, on hot page, you can drag and hold down Alt key, and you'll make a copy of it. And then all I just do is change this to green, and there we go. It's a green card. And how about some space between these? We could give this a margin bottom of, say, 32 pixels, and there they go. They have some space between them. So let's make all of these cards, shall we? Alright, well, this thing needs bold text, let's not forget that. And I'm just hitting Command B to make these bold. Surface temperature minus 147, that's very cold. Kind of a cloudy day today. Mexico City, it's also a little bit cold. None of these, or it actually says around 465 degrees. That's not a minus, that's a tilde. By the way, we can't trust any of these statistics because they are from ChatGPT and they could be completely wrong. Isn't it great how the world is just getting better and better? So what I'm going to do here is, instead of having to type this out every time for you, I'm going to create one and then drop all of this data in there. So basic elements. We can, well, maybe not that one, but this gets header row, and this gets card. And it could be purple, or, well, you know, something about these cards, they alternate purple and green. So we really could set these without using the class by just doing nth child. How about that? Get rid of purple, get rid of green, and get rid of purple. And the selector here, I'm going to say nth child odd, and nth child even, and there we go. There, I mean, it was nice how Mercury was purple because it's sort of a purple planet, but in this case, I think it really depends on how these things above it. So if we want, actually, let's see, I think this will all work out once we get once we get all of the pictures in there. So all we really need is div card, div header row, and then this goes in here, and it gets an H2, and then these get dropped in, and this gets dropped in, and these get bold. And there's Earth already on its green card. So I'm gonna, oh, you know what, I forgot to copy the thing I made. What I wanted to do was do this only once, and here I am doing it again. Let's add a class card, and add this class header. You know what, I don't even know if this is faster than doing it by hand. Just gonna forget it and do it by hand, because dragging these is also annoying. What we need in Hot Page is a way to drag multiple elements. If you can select these elements, but you're really only selecting the text inside of them. If we could drag and create a selection in a box and then move all of the elements at once, that's the dream, and someday it will happen as soon as I get some time to build it. And this gets H3, H2, gets wrapped in a header row, and this all gets right now we're working on Mars. As soon as I add this class card, boom, it becomes a big purple card. So proceeding outwards in the solar system, this gets card, this gets H2, and gets wrapped in header row. These get bold. Wow, 1 year is 12 years on Jupiter. That's kind of amazing. Jupiter looking good. Saturn. Card. H2. Hundred and 45 moons. It's many. Must be fun to see those from the sky, in the sky, if you were on Saturn, although I doubt you could really survive on Saturn. Card for Uranus. This, since we're doing everything at once here, this also gets header row. Uranus gets H2 and header row. Neptune, last planet. Almost there, you guys. Wow, 165 years to go around the sun. That is out there. If we lived on Neptune, we would not even live 1 year, of 1 Neptune year. And this needs card. And there it is. What happened here? How did that one happen? How did I set that on there? Maybe that's why I didn't add card. Okay, so here are the cards. Here are the planets. Let's just drop them in here. This will be interesting. I mean, this must be Saturn. With the rings. This must be Earth with the continents. This one must be Mars. And this must be Jupiter, the spot. And looks dicey. That one's Mercury. Looks like Uranus is the blue one and Neptune has the lines. So let's go Neptune. Neptune did not get a header row. Fix that now. And now it's next to its little picture. We gotta get Uranus, the blue one. What are we missing here? Mars, Earth, Venus. Looks like Venus did not get an H2 here. So it's not looking too hot. H2, there we go. And Venus is indeed this sort of brown looking one. And boom, there are all the cards in HTML. Now, we want to make these stack. So, let's see how easy this is. I'm going to do position sticky, top 0. And they're stacking on top of each other. Can you imagine that? It was easier than you thought, huh? This is kind of the same way that a header works in like a sticky header, where you put it position sticky on it, and then it stays at the top of the screen. This is basically the same thing. It's basically like you're scrolling down and then the header gets stacked on top of it. It gets stuck on top of the screen, except these are stacking on top of each other because they're going down the page. They're all getting sticky to the top at 0. Now, the thing with these cards is we probably want to have some space of the card here. So when Venus stacks on top of Mercury, it actually stacks like right there, so we can see that there's a planet behind that or card behind that card. So in order to do that, we would have to set styles on each one of these. So the first one, Mercury, let's say You know, there's a way to do this without setting a value on each of them, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. CSS index function. Z index, sibling index. That's what the one we want, because then you could use sibling index to, this is basically what we want. We want about 10 pixels for each sibling, so that the first one is 10 pixels from the top, the second one's 20, the third one's 30, etc. What is the browser support on sibling index? Sibling index. And it is not good. But you know what? We're using Chrome, and later I will set this to something that is not using an unsupported browser feature, but I want to save some time for all of you, so I'm going to do it for you. So if we set calc sibling index times 10 pixels, now that stops at 10, that stops at 20, that stops at 30, that stops at 40, etc. Maybe they need a little bit more, something like 15 pixels, and now they're all on top of each other, but not totally on top of each other. I'm going to add some padding bottom to the HTML element so that we can scroll all the way down and get like a complete stack. Let's just say 100 VH. So now I can scroll down and boom, that is, whoa, what is that? That's interesting. They do that. I sort of thought they would. Why does that happen? Especially this one that is not the same as the others. Can't explain that, but this is working pretty good. You know, we could say this is done. I'm gonna add some padding to the top of the padding block, and then we have it at the top and the bottom. So when I scroll down here, these scroll, and then the whole thing goes. I think that was the issue that no, look, it's still doing it. Very weird. I think maybe if we wrapped all of these in a div, that might do it. Let's see. Sticky, position sticky only works for when something is, it scrolls only inside of its parent. So now, as the div scrolls away, nope, still doing it. I can't explain that at all. This is Chrome Canary, so it could be just some kind of weird bug. Delete self and keep children. There we go. So I just unwrapped it from the div that we had. So this is cool. I could say I'm done at this point. What if we wanted to click one of these cards and have it scroll into view? Wouldn't that be cool? If you could click it and find out and scroll right to that one. Let's try. So I'm going to add an on-click handler here, and when you are clicking, let's see, how is this going to work? Let's just do console.log event. So now to see the event, I'll just go in here, and I can go to the console. Maybe, man, this is really tight. here we get a pointer event. So click, and then you can see the source element is P, because that's the thing I clicked on. I clicked on this P, apparently. I didn't even remember that. And if you look at target, it's P. So the target of this element is the one we're going to use. And if you think about this P is on the Jupyter card. So there it is, there's the P. Now if I do $0 is that element. That's the element set in, oops, trying to get this on here for you guys to see better. Let's see if I can get my picture out of the way. Yeah, I'm just going to hide my picture for now. So this 0, and then we need to say closest card. And now we have closest is a DOM function that travels up the DOM tree and finds so it looks at the parent of the P, and if it matches this selector dot card, which is an element with the class card, it will return that. If I said, so we're on here, if I said 0.closest body, it would return the body because it goes up the tree. Unfortunately, this tree isn't any more complicated, so I can't show you more examples, but that's basically what, so we got the card now. So if you do card scroll offset, or it's not scroll offset, it's offset top, it's going to tell you exactly what position it has in the scroll. So what we want is to then get the document element, or no, we can use window.scroll x is scroll top, right? Scroll y because it's up and down. So if you know this says 2,446, that means it's 2,446 pixels from the top of the screen. So if I set window.scroll y equal that, so should be able to scroll around the, no. You have to do window.scroll 2, and then you get x and y. We want 0x, and then we say we want to scroll to 1,000, it scrolls there. If we want to scroll to 2,000, we scroll to Mars. So since we were on this Jupyter card, and the offset top is this, we should be able to just scroll there, and then Jupyter is at the top. It looks like it's a little bit like you actually want it like there, and I think that's because of the size of this card. I think scroll, how would this work? Well, anyway, let's just say -150. That looks pretty good. So we can combine these together in our event handler by, let's see here, our event handler. So here we are, when we get a click, we're here, and we're going to do window.scroll to this dot offset top. No, this, so let's say we want the card. const card equals this dot closest dot card, and then we want to scroll to the card offset top. If there's no card, which could be if we clicked, so this just is on the body, it could be if you click anything on the body, you will get this. If we don't want to scroll unless we're on a card. So if there's no card, return. Now something should work here. Let's do console.log card just to make sure we're getting it. And I'm going to say got card. And it's getting the card null, but it's not finding it. Closest dot card. So it's, I think I'm using the wrong thing here. This is the body, since the event handler is on the body. What we want is event.target. Now we click these and they scroll. It scrolls to that point. It's a little bit jerky, no? And not totally working. Well, I think what you may need to do to get this correct value for offset top is you may need to there I am. You may need to calculate the position of this in the whole list, and I don't know if you guys really want to see that. It could take me a minute. So if I click, let's say dot card offset top. Got tar, it's 2000. So now when I am logging the event, I get this offset top value. So if I click Jupiter, I'm getting the Jupiter value. If I click Saturn, I'm getting the Saturn value. Right, you can't see that. How about that? See if I can make this a little bigger. Alright, so let's start over here. If I click Jupiter, I'm getting the Jupiter value. If I click Mars, I'm getting the Mars value. But these are changing based on where it is in the scroll. So this offset top value is not going to work. I was afraid of that. I'm going to give up. I don't think I should have planned this better, but I think we can revisit this at some other time if we really want to scroll there. It seems close, but it's going to be quite involved to figure out the right value. So here we go. Forget it. Here are the cards. They're scrolling one on top of the next. And we did this with basically 2 lines of CSS. Position sticky, top, calc sibling index times 15. If you wanted to do this without sibling index, like if you wanted to have it support Safari and that kind of thing, if I take this off, you'll see that the effect goes away. I'll show you with the first view. What I do is I'll add top 15 pixels, and then on the next one, I'll add top 30 pixels, and then on the next one, I'll add top 45 pixels, and then the first 3 will be stacked down from the top, and then these other ones just keep going because they have no top value. So basically, without without sibling index, you have to go in and set each one individually. Sibling index is just like, am I the first child, the second child, the third child, etc. That gives you a number, and then you times it by 15 pixels, and that's what gives you the correct top value, which is how far from the top of the screen this exists. So I'm going to save this page to planet card stacking, and this gets planet card stacking, and there it is. If you want to see it, go to this page, playground.hot.page, planet card stacking. This might look bad because we didn't really consider desktop. How about that? Right, so you can't see anything on this because we have to scroll down, but we didn't give these a max width, so they look quite extended. I'm going to do that now. Card, max width 300 pixels, maybe 500, and there they go. They're stacked on top of each other. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Today we made the card stacks, and next week we will have more things to show you. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.